Northeastern Brazil is experiencing an outbreak of the Zika virus, which causes microcephaly, a condition causing children to be born with noticeably smaller heads, severely limiting their intellectual and physical development. In addition, it causes severe retina scarring in up to 40% of the infants that get infected. The Zika virus is transmitted by mosquitoes and there is no known cure. And in less than 4 months, the virus has reached epidemic proportions. In December, 1,000 cases were reported. Now it's up to 3,000, and that's only in Pernambuco state alone. This virus continues to spread through Brazil and South America, and disease experts predict that within 3 months, the Zika virus will reach the state of Texas in the United States of America. Not to mention, there has already been one reported case in Hawaii. A headline from the New York Times reads, "Hawaii baby with brain damage is first U.S. case tied to Zika virus." Reading about this virus just breaks my heart because my wife gave birth to 2 daughters within the past year and a half, and I can't imagine my babies having to live a life of deformity and mental handicap. This must be a terrible burden to the families that are suffering from this disaster, and my prayers go out to them. Please pray for them as well. Moreover, the Bible also warns us about such incidents. Speaking about pestilences in the last days, Luke chapter 21 verse 11 says, "And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven." The definition of the word pestilence, according to dictionary.com, is a deadly or virulent epidemic disease, like the bubonic plague, or something that is considered harmful, destructive, or evil. Now, although the Zika virus is not typically deadly for adults, symptoms are characterized by flu-like symptoms, a rash, and joint pain. Zika is very harmful, destructive, and evil in the damage that it does to infants, and it is becoming an epidemic, which means it is spreading. So that classifies it as a pestilence, and we can expect things to get worse, not better, before the second coming of Jesus. The Bible indicates that disasters are going to increase with intensity. Some people may wonder how a loving God can do such a thing to us, or even allow such a thing to happen to us, if He's not directly responsible, since He is God and all-powerful and can stop such things from happening. The best answer that I can find to that is that God is not to blame. We live in a fallen world, and there are many factors why disasters happen. Sometimes sanitary reasons are to blame, or people live in large cities which are too crowded. Inadequate quarantine regulations and poor health care in poverty-stricken regions of the world doesn't help either, but there are also a couple of spiritual factors that we should not overlook. First of all, let's not kid ourselves. The world is full of sin and corruption, and God has made it known thousands of years ago and time again in the Bible that our safety and prosperity is dependent on obedience to His word. When God delivered the Israelites from Egyptian slavery in Exodus chapter 15 verse 26, He told them, "If thou wilt diligently hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and wilt do that which is right in His sight, and wilt give ear to His commandments, and keep all His statutes, I will put none of these diseases upon thee, which I have brought upon the Egyptians, for I am the Lord that healeth thee." God gave the Israelites wise instructions to keep them disease-free, including restrictions against eating unclean animals, which are animals that are full of toxins and parasites. And God also gave the Israelites sanitary regulations for their camp in the desert wilderness of Sinai to keep disease from spreading among them. Furthermore, let's not forget, God gave the Israelites His 10 commandments written on 2 tables of stone. And when people do things such as eat animals that are unclean, don't maintain proper hygiene, and don't keep God's 10 commandments, that's a recipe for disaster. Not to mention, when we forfeit God's protection, we allow the devil to come into our lives and wreak havoc. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 2 calls Satan the prince of the power of the air. So we can't neglect all of these things and curse God when pestilence falls upon us. Of course, it is important to correct any areas that we are neglecting which are facilitating the spread of disease, but most importantly, we need to turn back to God, because it is in God's power to reverse the pestilence. One example is in Numbers chapter 16 verses 46 through 48. When God brought a plague on Korah and the rebels in the wilderness, Aaron, the high priest of God, took a censer and put incense in it, symbolizing the prayers of the saints, ran into the midst of the assembly, and stood between the living and the dead, and the plague stopped. Northeastern Brazil is experiencing a rapid outbreak of the Zika virus. Thousands of poor babies have been deformed for life as a result, and this pestilence is projected to hit the United States. No doubt pestilences and other calamities at times are a result of people's neglect in maintaining proper hygiene and health care, but they can also be a result of disobedience to God. When people disobey God, they forfeit His protection, and the devil steps in and wreaks havoc. There's no telling how many lives will be ruined as a result of this viral outbreak. Maybe it will be contained, maybe not. Maybe God, in His mercy, will stop it from wreaking its full destructive force. However, there is something we can do to help. We can pray to God that He will help those families who have been affected and that He will intervene to stop this virus in its tracks. And please also pray that the people of Brazil will see their need to completely turn their lives over to God so they won't be harassed by the devil. That is God's purpose in allowing these types of calamities to happen, so that people will be awakened to a sense of their need for God and repent. What do you think? Are God's blessings dependent upon our obedience to Him? Let me know in the comment box. Also, thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Check out my social media links in the description box. And feel free to check out some of my playlists by clicking on the screen. I have some good Christian videos which I'm sure you'll enjoy if you liked this one. Please also pray for my online ministry. I firmly believe that your prayers make a difference. God bless.